Hey RBC, back by unpopular demand. But here I am in your living room or wherever you happen to be watching this. I don't want every single video to center around the coronavirus, though I realize this is kind of the main issue of today. But I do think I'll touch on a couple of things. I don't know, it's probably 6 months ago or so, I mentioned that there are 5 buckets that I put things in. And a lot of people question, why is God doing this? And I'm going to be speaking on that tonight, and it'll come out on Sunday. At least views that people have as to why God would allow something like this to happen. But I have 5 buckets that I put things in when I have questions about God and how he operates. Deuteronomy 29:29 is the first bucket. And that is, the secret things belong to the Lord. But what he wants to reveal to us, he has. So there are some things that are simply past our full understanding. Romans 11 talks about his ways are past finding out. We find that in Isaiah, his ways are above our ways. So some of these things can't be simply answered when we look at the evil of a coronavirus, but the secret things belong to the Lord. There's another passage over in 2 Peter that talks about there are hard things to be understood. You can understand them, but they're hard to understand. You can say, well, I have to believe God's going to use this in some way. He's going to bring people to himself, but it's still kind of hard to understand why he would use these methods. But you can understand it, certainly to a degree. Then in 1 Corinthians 13, it says, we see through a glass dimly, but then face to face. That's one of my favorites. There's so much about this and the evils of the world and the difficulties of life where you see, but it's a little clouded, but you do see it. And God does reveal certain things to us. He just doesn't give us all the details, not all the details. Then there's a passage in the Gospel of John where Jesus says to his disciples, there are things that I would like to tell you, but you're not ready yet. Now I take that to mean that they're either not mature enough or they're just some things they can't quite grasp. And that may be true of each and every one of us. Some people who are far more mature, far further along in their Christian life can look at this and go, I've been through tougher times and I've seen good things come out of tough times. So it's perhaps that God can reveal things to them that they can understand that maybe the rest of us will go, we're just not quite ready yet in our spiritual maturity. And the last one is, there are things that are clear, very clear. The Bible talks about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, that salvation is by grace through faith. It tells us in Romans chapter 1, it says, for the invisible things from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that mankind is without excuse. So those are the 4 buckets that I put things in when things like a coronavirus comes or there's a tragedy in life. I put those in those buckets because those buckets are found in Scripture. Maybe that's a rough term to use, buckets. But there are simply places that I say, I'm not sure what to do with this, and I think it fits in bucket number 2. And each one of those buckets has an assigned verse to us, So as we walk through this, and again, not every single one of these daily devotional thoughts is going to be on the coronavirus. There are other things we can talk about, other things to be an encouragement in. And so I'll be leaving in a little bit to record Sunday's message, which is going to be out of Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, and dealing with Habakkuk going through some very, very difficult times and yet rejoicing in the Lord. So hope to see you this weekend, and I'll try to keep these daily devotionals going. Until then, God bless you, and may you have a great and prosperous day.